right now, the way that artists get compensated and the way the internet is feeding us content isn't working anyway. So why not use generative AI as an excuse to create a new future? I think right now we're very focused on a world in which there's Instagram and Google search and Spotify, but in a world in which these content distribution platforms don't exist, for example, if chatbots are how people find content, or if people find content some other way that isn't on these platforms, then fighting for exclusion from these models might actually be counterproductive. But consider a vision like this. Um, let's say that there's a musician, let's take, for example, Lady Gaga, who has not given any indication that she's going to do this, but I just like her work. Um, let's say that instead of coming out with a single album, she comes out with a new model that is fine-tuned to encode a specific style of song or a specific style of imagery or specific style of work that can create arbitrary amounts of that with some kind of user interaction. And it'd be understood that it was her work, um, and she would drop new styles that no one had heard before because she's a creative person. And I don't know exactly what model this would be on, subscription, or pay per hit or something. I don't know where I'd find them or how I'd hear about them, but I think there are positive versions of this future. I don't think what makes sense is to try and hold on to what exists today. And I'm actually not convinced that things like pay per mention will really work. Things like streaming are broken right now. The way that musicians get compensated on Spotify doesn't work for marketing or financial compensation. And so trying to duplicate things like this doesn't seem to make sense to me. I worry that these lawsuits against OpenAI and unionized negotiations are absolutely valid and well intentioned, but I worry that they're going to be irrelevant in 3 to 5 years, not because their motivation isn't important, but because they're advocating for a piece of a world that will no longer exist then.